You're listening to Brave Girls with Tracy Imm, where we choose to empower you to be a better leader, mentor, and coach in the world. We'll share stories of people who have achieved great heights by overcoming adversity and rising to the challenge, all while pursuing their passions. These courageous people will inspire you to have faith in yourself and take bold action. Right here with the host of Brave Girls, Tracy Imm.
Welcome to episode 20, Embrace the Pause. Today is December 22nd, 2018, and it's 3 years since my father passed away. Chapter 13 in my book, Conquer Shame and Claim Success, 3 Keys to Abundance, Love, and Leadership, was a tribute that I wrote to my father about my situation in 2015 as I became my father's caregiver with my sister and my husband. I believe that as leaders, our greatest responsibility really is to serve other people. And so this is a really special chapter in the book, and I read the chapter to you, which is the story of my journey as a caregiver. And I think that it's just so important that we take a moment over this holiday season to embrace the pause of the holiday season and really reflect back and think about how we're serving others out in the world, whether it's our family, our friends, our coworkers, our clients. And if you'd like to get a copy of my book, it is available on Amazon, and you can just type in Conquer Shame and the book will come up, or you can type my name, Tracy Imm. And it's a great little book. It's probably about 100 some pages, so it's an easy read. And it's actually really interesting stories that I felt called to share out in the world. And so it came out earlier this year. I haven't really done too much marketing with it, but I'll probably be doing more marketing with it in 2019. And I just want to say I just really appreciate all the listeners out there and all of the feedback that I'm getting, the stories and the guests that I've had so far in the first 4 months of the podcast have been amazing. And I just really, really am grateful for the podcast world, for this medium. And I just really wanted to share chapter 13 with you today on December 22nd, which is a significant date in my life. And I hope that you get some time to spend some time with your family and you're actually able to pause and reflect back on all the things that you've been able to accomplish in 2018. So with that, here's episode 20, and I'm going to read chapter 13, Embrace the Pause.
Chapter 13, Embracing the Pause. Loss catapults us into great pain. There's no other explanation. As I was writing this book in 2015, I became my father's full-time caregiver along with my sister and my husband. It was one of the most challenging times of my personal life. Caregiving is not for the faint of heart. Grief is even more of a challenge. My relationship with my father wasn't a bowl of cherries all the time. He had a hot temper and he was moody. As a kid, I learned how to cope with his outburst, mostly by going to my room and shutting the door. He was wicked smart and wicked funny, but these traits often were overshadowed by his dark side. He never drank, but he acted like an alcoholic. One day he was up, and the next day he was down. It was tough to live with and hard to explain. Despite the chaos of our relationship, I loved my father unconditionally. I came to realize he was doing the best he could. He didn't have the tools to adapt and adjust, and he refused to be medicated. He was bringing in generations of dysfunction that had been passed down to him from his parents and their parents. They too had dark sides. They too had secrets. They too had addictions and psychological disorders. They too had anger management issues. They too had low self-esteem. On the flip side, they were smart. They were hardworking. They loved their families. They loved sports. They loved reading. It was a crazy dichotomy. In the fall of 2015, as I labored to write this book, I witnessed my father's rapid death. I took a sabbatical from writing. I couldn't focus on anything but his care. He only lived 3 months and a day from his initial diagnosis. He'd been sick for close to 2 years, but never took the time to find out why. He blamed it on old age. He blamed it on his diabetes. It was so much worse. It was the C word, the emperor of all maladies, as Dr. Mukherjee dubbed it in the book of the same name. Cancer, pancreatic cancer, stage 4. In his pancreas, liver, and lungs. It was a death sentence with a short time frame. On September 1st, 2015, the universe dealt me another blow that I now realize was complete divine intervention. My corporate executive role was eliminated in a restructuring. As I drove home after being let go, I said out loud, "Thank you, God. I need this time to be 100% with my father to figure out what is going on." My father's 81st birthday was on October 23rd. This was my journal entry that morning in my morning pages. It was called Embracing the Pause and Making Choices. I'm struggling to embrace this pause that God has so graciously given me. Today, as I sit alone, I wonder why. Why is it so hard? Why am I having such difficulty? It drops into me as so obvious. We all need to have purpose in our life. When one door closes, what we thought was our purpose, suddenly we're thrown into a tailspin of doubt, fear, anxiety, worry, and panic. I don't understand. It's what have I been doing full on for 2 straight years, isn't it? How can that be? I keep looking at that closed door despite not trusting any of my direct supervisors. They were all liars and unethical. It bothered me so much to watch them operate, but I stayed. The money was so good. I told myself to turn the other way and ignore their poor behavior. I wasn't engaged in it. What they did was their business. I found that grieving the loss of my job while grieving the loss of my father was just overwhelming to me. Here I sit 60 days later. I've shed so many tears. I've endured terrifying panic attacks on a daily basis, often multiple times a day. And this is it? Yes, I know it's to be true. I was on the wrong path. I just didn't know it. Wow. My purpose today is to breathe, relax, and show compassion for my one and only father. He's the guy that I selected to be the one for me. Support him in his final days, weeks, and months on planet Earth. Do whatever it takes to honor his wishes, preserve his dignity, and demonstrate my gratitude for all that he did for me on my journey to get me to where I am today. Work will happen after he's gone. I'll find my way back onto a path that fills my soul and lights me up. I believe that losing my 6-figure corporate gig was a divine intervention in the most beautiful way. I experienced a holy instant, and I didn't even know it. As I reflect, God had the right plan for me. Get out of your toxic, stress-filled, crazy environment now to do what needs to be done for your father. He knew that I wouldn't have done it on my own. He wanted to make it easier for me to be able to shine my light where it was not only needed, but would be appreciated beyond my wildest dreams. Showering love on my father, along with my sister and husband, was my new purpose. We all had made tremendous personal sacrifices over the past 4 months as we worked to support my father's daily needs. We all believe in our heart of hearts that it's not only the right thing to do, but it's our most courageous choice. As many of us go through this phase of our lives, we have choices that have pros and cons, choices that are easy to exist, choices that are difficult but available. Choices that cost money are in the mix. Choices that cost time also present themselves. Choices that require energy need to be evaluated. When confronted with the aging of your own parents, always remember that you only get one set. Our parents made personal and professional sacrifices to give us a leg up. It's time now for us to respect and honor those sacrifices. Today, as my dad celebrates his 81st birthday, I want him to know this is what I think. Dad, I love you with all my heart and soul. I'm forever grateful for your love and support and want you to know that I'm here for you. There's a special place in heaven where you can tell your corny jokes, watch Fox News and Jeopardy, and enjoy the Golf Channel and the Ravens games. Love, Tracy Imm. I was honored to be the family member who delivered the eulogy at his funeral. Here's what I said. We're here today to celebrate Richard Kennard, someone who rejoiced in the blessings of life. Our family thanks each of you who came today to honor and remember our dad, who we affectionately called Special K. As many of you know, we were blessed to care for our dad at his home in Bel Air over the past 6 months as he struggled with health issues related to his pancreatic cancer. While it was challenging emotionally for all of us, we're eternally grateful to have had the opportunity to spend time together as a family. During our time together, we got to know him in a whole new light as a gifted storyteller and man who loved life and knew how to get us to laugh. He was so grateful to every person who came across his path, and he always wanted to make sure that he sincerely thanked them for what they did for him. He was constantly saying, "How can I ever repay you for what you've done for me?" We would tell him, "Dad, just say thank you." When thinking about our dad's legacy, it's clear that he taught us 3 very important lessons. I'd like to share them with you today. They were 1, to live, 2, to love, 3, to laugh. So lesson number 1, to live. Our dad loved life and would say on a number of occasions, "Oh, life is a ball." He knew that every day was a gift, and he wanted us to believe the same thing. With his glass half full attitude, he saw life as fun and happy. Over the past 6 months, he wanted to make sure he lived each day to the fullest, even when he didn't feel well. He would express his gratitude each morning and then promptly ask, "What's the weather like out there?" 100% chance of rain and a high dew point, Dad, I'd reply. In our time with him, he would recount stories when he really enjoyed life, such as attending sporting events, concerts, and activities with his grandchildren, Cal and Hannah. He was especially proud of his perfect attendance record with the Baltimore Ravens. He'd been a season ticket holder since they came to town. Lesson number 2, to love. My dad always knew what it meant to love. He was so proud of his family and had so much love for each of us. He loved each of us in his own unique way. He loved Cal. He loved Hannah. He would brag about their academic and athletic accomplishments. He loved Paul. He loved Donald, and he said he couldn't have asked for 2 better sons-in-laws. And he loved my sister Robin and me. We always knew it, and he continued to tell us as we took care of him. Our dad taught us to be kind to everyone. He'd emphasize to us that even if people were not kind to us, we needed to be kind back anyway. His last 6 years were some of his happiest days as he befriended Marion. They enjoyed many of the same things: eating a good meal, watching Jeopardy, and going to the beach. He repeatedly told us how happy he was with her in his life. So thank you, Marion, for being such a good friend and companion to our dad. You made him very happy, and he felt your love. He loved his students, his fellow teachers, the school staff, his nurses, his home health aides, his doctors, and his friends like Uncle Stevie and Mr. Jack. Lesson 3, to laugh. My dad was the king of the good belly laugh. He loved to tell stories, and there was always humor embedded in each and every story. He shared so many new stories with us over the past few months, and each one was more hilarious than the next. He would crack himself up with his silly jokes. Miriam would often say, "Stop being silly." He refused to stop and said it was important to laugh. So thank you, Dad, for teaching us to live, to love, and to laugh. Your legacy is beautiful. Rest in peace and know that you will be missed but never forgotten. Through this experience, I was able to slow down and appreciate the little things in life. I'm grateful that I was able to not work and focus 100% on my dad, the first man in my life. This was one of the most transformational events in my life. I came to realize that past events had set me up for this experience. My perception of life took a major U-turn and led me to awaken to the need for compassion in our world. In order to take on this role, my patience was challenged. My organizational skills were put to the test. My ability to be present in the now was critically important. Gaining confidence in myself was at the core of being successful. I embraced my top 5 values of love, adventure, freedom, learning, and integrity as I took care of my father. I fully committed, along with my sister and my husband, to be all in with this assignment. I always came from a place of duty, love, and obligation. I wanted him to know that he was loved and he was not alone. We brought comfort, rest, rejuvenation, joy, and expansion to his home in his final months. While our home had been chaotic and challenging growing up, we wanted a different environment this time around. I'm blessed and grateful to have done this work. I have no regrets, and I thank the universe for this exceptional experience. I learned a lot about myself through this situation, and I'm a changed person. What's really important in life has fundamentally shifted for me. My connection with the divine has been strengthened. The lens through which I view the world has shifted as well. By far, one of the hardest things I had to do as my dad's caregiver was to be the one to tell him on September 21st, 2015, that the doctor had found cancer. While he knew he was sick, he didn't know it was stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I was the one that had to deliver the tragic news to him. It was incredibly difficult and painful to be the messenger. I chose to be direct and to the point. No use beating around the bush. I told him, and then I shut up. I let him talk to me about how he felt about his diagnosis. I let him tell me what he wanted to do next. He told me that in his gut, he knew it was cancer. He was hoping for different news, but he accepted his fate. This began our 3-month journey of love and comfort to him. He would die 3 months later in Stella Maris Hospice. The solidarity of our family that had so desperately needed to be healed was healed. I now consider myself a member of the Caregiving Effect movement, which is led by Priya Soni. The universe conspired and connected me to her just a month after my father passed. I did her 3-step program at her urging. During the early stages of my grief, she helped me see that I was meant to be his caregiver and that I meant to help and mentor and guide other women who do the same. I highly recommend working with Priya Soni to anyone who is a caregiver for a parent. Her gentle spirit is a gift to the world. So one of the lessons that I learned during my father's illness and a job loss was the power of letting go. And I want to share with you now the letting go affirmation. I am willing to let go. I release. I let go. I release all tension. I release all fear. I release all anger. I release all guilt. I release all sadness. I let go of old limitations. I let go and I'm at peace. I'm at peace with myself and I'm at peace with the process of life. I am safe. So as you begin to serve others, ask yourself, what do I need to let go of in order to serve others? Buddha says, why do what you will regret? Why bring tears upon yourself? Do only what you do not regret and fill yourself with joy. Think about who it is that you need to serve today, and are you 100% present for them? Buddha said, look not to the faults of others, nor to their omissions and commissions, but rather look to your own acts, to what you have done and left undone. Ask yourself if you're on the right path, or are you choosing to ignore the signs that say otherwise? Buddha said, see the false as false, the true as true. Look into your heart, follow your nature. And then lastly, are your thoughts and words in alignment with serving others? Buddha said, whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them for good or ill. And I close with Colossians 3:12, which says, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience.
So that wraps up episode 20. Thank you so much for listening in to Brave Girls with Tracy Imm. If you're looking to read the rest of my book, it's called Conquer Shame and Claim Success, 3 Keys to Abundance, Love, and Leadership. And you can find it on Amazon. In the search bar, you can just type in Conquer Shame, or you can type in Tracy Imm, and it'll appear on your shopping cart. And I'd love for you to check it out. It's a series of stories that I put together in the format of a 3-act play. Section 1 is Know and Love Yourself. Section 2 is Brand Yourself. And Section 3 is Serve Others, because I believe as leaders, we rise to our greatest heights when we are serving others. And so I hope that you enjoy this holiday season, and I hope you have a great December 22nd. And I am really having a great time putting this podcast out into the world. We've already been downloaded in 19 countries, and we're looking to grow the show. And so please spread the word about the positive stories and the interesting people that we're interviewing. And we really just are putting this out with the intention of motivating and inspiring everyone in the world to really be brave and to find their true north and to really go out into the world and be their most authentic self. And so I really appreciate you sharing with me today on episode 20, Embrace the Pause, which is chapter 13 in my book. And I just am so humbled and honored to be able to share this with you and to really show that we can always do more and serve more and heal relationships when we really focus. And so I just wish everyone the happiest of holiday seasons. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for all of you, my listeners out there in the internet podcast world. This is just such a great medium, and I just am so blessed to be able to produce the show and bring more stories out into the world and introduce more people to other people, because I just believe that we all need to be connected and moving in the same direction. So thanks, and I will see you on the next episode.
We appreciate you joining us for this episode of Brave Girls with Tracy Imm and hope that you enjoyed the show. For more information about today's episode, as well as additional free resources to help you achieve greatness in your life, visit tracyimm.com and sign up for our mailing list. Until next time, dream big, believe in yourself, and let your brilliance shine as only you can do.